Start streaming. Start streaming.
Alexa, it is too loud. I have Alexa programmed to tell my other Alexa in the living room that my
Yo, what's going on YouTube? Zach with IT Career Questions. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. I had a little technical difficulty. I probably should have called tech support, but I think our special guest and I figured this out, and we're good to go. So tonight we have a again special guest on with us, which I'm really stoked about. You guys have no idea. I've been waiting to interview this guy for a really long time. And if you don't know who this guy is, he's Network Chuck, or you guys can call him Chuck. I like to call him the Beard because he has a really sick beard. And maybe we'll talk about that at some point tonight. But this is Chuck Keith, and I'm going to have him come on and tell you guys a little bit about himself, and then we'll start talking about IT stuff. So welcome aboard, Mr. Network Chuck.
All right, am I live? Am I here?
You're good.
Cool. Well, hey guys, I'm Network Chuck, like he said. I'm on YouTube, just like this guy here. And I started out just like him too, just on the help desk, and found my way into networking. And now that's what I do. And I work for CBT Nuggets, and I produce training for them. If you've ever heard of them, they're a pretty great training company. And yeah, my focus has been on YouTube a lot, just encouraging people like yourself, hopefully, to get into IT, to figure out how to navigate these scary waters and get your certifications and start making a heck of a ton of money. And that's pretty much it. That's all I do.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, man. This is going to be a fun time. And I guess one of the things that I guess we should probably start with is getting your history, because that's kind of what IT Career Questions has been about. You know, when I bring people on for an interview, I like to hear about how you got into IT. So let's hear that story.
So I actually started out getting into ministry. Actually, I wanted to become a pastor initially, actually a missionary. But then I got hurt. I couldn't walk. I had knee surgery and everything. And then my wife, she got pregnant, so we needed money. And there's money in IT, and my dad was in IT at the time. So I'm like, and I was never like a geek growing up. So if you're not a geek, don't worry about that. I didn't want to be in IT up until I was maybe 19. I'm like, okay, I got to do something with my life. Let me figure this out. So my dad told me, hey, let's check out this. I asked my dad, hey, what can I do? How can I start doing this? And he was an IT manager at the time. And he said, look at the A+. Okay, I'll check out the A+. So I started learning the A+ in 2000. God, I don't remember when this was, man. 2000 a long time ago. And I watched Mike Myers, and he's still around. This guy's amazing. Got the bald head, the cowboy hat. This back in the day, he was miniaturizing himself on some motherboards and walking around.
Oh yeah.
I watched him, and I was still working on my A+ when I got my first help desk job. I was a junior help desk engineer, and got my A+ short after that. And then I saw this guy across from me, and he was a network engineer, and he was on the command line making amazing things happen. Things would go down, and everybody ran to him. He's like super important. I'm like, what is that guy doing? So one day I walked over and I said, hey, what is it you do? I want to know what you're doing. And he kind of mentored me and told me what to do. And the first thing he told me to do was get your CCNA, which for me was starting out with the CCNA, or the Cisco Certified Entry-Level Network Technician. That's kind of a mouthful. So I started that, and I killed it. I tried every single day to learn this. I came into work early. And this is what I always tell people. If you really want to impress your boss, if you're on a help desk and you want to show them that you want to move up, I came in like 2 hours early every day, popped open that book, made it look super obvious that I was studying. So when my boss walked by, he'd go, this guy wants to do something. And totally paid off, because before I even had my CCNA, he promoted me to junior network engineer. So that was pretty cool. So not only was I able to learn, I was able to apply what I was learning. And then what's really cool about working for a small company is that often the network engineer in charge will just leave and they don't have a backup. So guess what happened? I became the network engineer. So I had to kind of get up into it and trial by fire. It was terrifying. I don't I don't recommend it because it's fun, but I do recommend it because you will accelerate so quickly. You'll blink and you'll become amazing. Not to say that I'm amazing or arrived, but you'll go really, really far. So I got my CCNA and I was already an admin at the time, network admin. And then I fell in love with Cisco Voice and collaboration, and I started learning that. And man, I just went from there. So I started jumping to different jobs, started earning more money, started providing more for my family. And then I thought, I'm going to go for my CCNP. And during that process, CCNP is not an easy certification track to go down. So during the process, I looked on YouTube to try to get encouraged by other people. And there was one guy, Jorge Almazan, and he was documenting his process. And he's a CCIE now, works for Cisco. He's a boss, but he really inspired me. So I'm like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and just start talking about this. So if you look at if you go to Network Chuck, I have a channel, just networkchuck.com, you'll find it. And my first video was me and actually I was at work and I had my lab and I was studying for my CCNP switch and I'm like trying to be quiet in the back room because I don't want people to discover me. I was at work and I just started making videos and it turns out people also wanted to be encouraged and start learning and start doing everything. So it just kind of took off. And I loved being an engineer. I loved working and being on the command line every day. But then my YouTube channel started getting a little bit more traction. People started watching me. And then Jeremy Char from CBT Nuggets reached out to me and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about working for CBT Nuggets?" Which for me was, what? Because I watched CBT Nuggets to get my CCNA. And Jeremy Chara was my freaking hero. So to see that and to hear that was amazing. So yeah, I said, yeah, I want to work for CBT Nuggets. That's amazing. I tried out for them. They hired me, and now that's what I do. And I'm learning every day, and I'm just trying to encourage people like you to also learn every day. So that's my history in a nutshell. Not everything, not the gory details, but just the flyby of why I'm here and how I got here. Anyways, back
No,
to you.
no, man, that's awesome. Uh-oh. Sorry, I got the Streamlab things going here. Um, no, that's a great story, though. What do you think is like the most valuable thing that you've learned so far throughout this journey? Because, you know, it's funny how that works out, where you just get thrown into a role like that, and I've experienced that before as well. But what do you think the most valuable thing you learned throughout this journey has been?
Uh, I think the most valuable thing I learned was how to market myself. Uh, I've seen guys who I'm going to be honest, are 20 times smarter than me. And if you had to ask me who would be better for the job, I would say, well, that guy, honestly. But because I made sure that my work was known and I wasn't just like doing really hard work and not letting the management know what I was doing, that's a really key important thing, is to do good work, but make sure people know it. And it's not doing it in a braggy way, but like saying, hey, I just did this today. I made this work, just letting you know. And that goes so far. And beyond that, also learning how to interview. I I love interviewing now. I just I changed jobs like four or five times within a span of 5 years, and I got a bump every time. And that's what I always tell people: if you want to make money in IT, don't stay stagnant in one place. Some places might treat you well. They might give you bump, 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 bump. Odds are they're going to give you that small little incremental increase. If you want to make money, move on.
Yep.
And not only does that increase your paycheck, but it also increases your exposure to new technologies, because not every place is going to be the same. If you stay at one place, you only see one environment. And sometimes they're not really quick on the refresh and adding new equipment to the environment. So you're kind of just stuck. You move on, you learn 20 times more.
Yep. It's like an echo. I've said that same thing many times before. So it's just so good to have like somebody to like reiterate that same advice, because it is so true. So thank you for that. That's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
got you.
That's great, man. That's great. So this is IT career questions. What advice would you give for these people who want to get into IT? Because a lot of people that come to my channel, they're career changers. So it's people who are, in their 30s, 40s even. People just sick of their jobs in general. What advice do you have for those type of people who are thinking about IT?
Well, I'll tell you, I was one of them.
Yep.
Before I started even doing anything, I was a salesman. I sold plumbing supplies. So I sold toilets to apartment complexes, which was not a glamorous job at all. After that, I was working in a call center, and I was making I think I was making $7 an hour. And it was kind of rock bottom for me because I had so many aspirations, but I was just there working $7 an hour. My wife was also working. We had a baby. It was just we were on the bottom rung. I had nothing. My apartment rent was $400 a month, roaches everywhere. I'm like, I have to change this. So I just started studying at work. I found the A plus. I started studying. I still have my notebooks, and it's kind of cool to watch my progression. But I would work on converting binary. I would work on memorizing all the protocols and everything. And my advice for you would just be to start studying right now. Like, don't wait for anything. Just start right now. Because you can study at work, you can study at home, take advantage of what you have. And my next piece of advice would be don't wait for anything to start searching for a job. You'll be surprised that most entry level help desk jobs really don't care how much technical knowledge you have. They care about your ability to have customer service. So if you've worked in customer service, if you've worked this, like I used to work at Starbucks, or I used to work in, actually I've pretty much worked at every fast food restaurant. If you have that experience, you know how to deal with really difficult people. And if you can demonstrate that to a help desk manager, that's what they want.
Yep.
You can learn the technical stuff. It's the customer service that they have a harder time teaching. So learn the customer service and get that entry level job. Because once you get the entry level job, no matter how low it is, that's when that's when your job can just be learning, which is crazy. You'll be amazed at how fast you can go and how far you can go if you just get that first entry level job. So if you're switching careers right now, it might be tough because you might be going from a okay paying job to kind of a crappy paying job going to entry level help desk, but the dividends will pay off. Trust me. If you just get in there and start learning, it'll skyrocket. That's
Yep.
what happened to me.
Yep. That's so true, man. So, how do you think the A plus? Do you think that helped you with your journey?
Well, I think, and this is kind of a cheat I do on my resume. When I'm working on a certification, I put that I'm working on the certification on my resume. So when I did not have my A plus just yet, I put on it A plus, parentheses, and progress. Now, what that does for me is it will show up in a search so HR people, they just do a query. They search for A plus on resumes. And if your resume pops up, they're likely going to give it to somebody. They're not going to look at the in progress or whatever. So it's kind of cheating, but not really because you're not lying about it. Uh, so I think the A plus, just the fact that I was working on it and making progress, and I demonstrated that I was learning. That's the key here, is that you're learning. Uh, that is what really set me far. Uh, when your IT manager or whoever your manager is knows that you're not stagnant, because I mean, a lot of guys will get into IT and they'll stop learning. They're happy where they're at, and that's fine. But a lot of the IT managers want to see a guy who can come in, take initiative, and start learning very quickly, and just take on multiple tasks and just move up. So I think the A plus was kind of my fire starter, my ignition, just to get me going. And it proved to my IT manager that I was willing to start learning and get better at my job.
Awesome. Awesome. So you're the big network guy, clearly, because I mean it even says it behind you. For those of the viewers out there who want to get into networking, is there a good pathway to take to that entry level? You know, what would you say? I guess is the best pathway. Certifications, experience. What type of path should somebody try to take?
Yes, they should do all of that. You should try to get experience. You should try to get certifications. Sometimes one will come first before the other. I mean, I started working on my networking certifications and I got the job before I got my certification. So it doesn't matter. But of course, you got to get because when you're in networking, you don't just like know networking and you only do networking. I mean, everything below that you learned on the help desk and you learn with A plus still applies. You'll be amazed at how many issues I would solve as a network engineer that turned out to be a lower level issue just because the person's not as smart as you and me. Um, like the cable's unplugged or something, right? It's like I've a million times. How
Right.
come it's not working? Well, did you plug it in? Um, kind of forgot where I was going. So the path you want to take, I would start with A plus if you have not been working in computers for very long, or maybe you don't know anything about a computer if you've never built your own PC, and then to get a great foundation. I would look at the Network Plus. It gives you so much. Now, I'm kind of in between on this because I love the CCENT, the Cisco Certified Entry Level Network Technician. Um, where it stands on where they are. So the Network Plus is like right here, and the C-Sense is like right here. Not in value, but just on knowledge. Network Plus is very wide, whereas the C-Sense is very, it's also wide, but it's very specific to Cisco, and you'll get more hands-on and actually command line and learning about networking protocols more in depth. But I would, if I were you, take a look at the Network Plus, look it over. If there's some things that you're kind of fuzzy on, maybe go through it. If you kind of know what TCP/IP is, if you know what the OSI model is, I would jump into CCENT and then just go from there. The biggest thing I would advise you though is networking maybe isn't for everyone. It doesn't have to be your thing. You might love Microsoft, and if you love Microsoft a lot more than Cisco, go for Microsoft. The key with all this IT stuff is you have to kind of like it. You have to love it to be able to do it. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. It's just going to be a grind every day. The reason I love IT, the reason I'm sure Zach loves IT is because it doesn't feel like working. It's fun.
Yeah.
When we're learning, like I'll be working on something and my wife hates it because I get like tunnel vision focus mode and I'll forget everything else around me. And before I know, the whole day's gone because I've just been writing a script or something. And it's just, you have to fall in love with it. Anyways, I know I kind of added more to the question than what you asked, but yeah, that's what I would do to start is just start working with networking. One more thing I'll add is when you start studying networking, don't wait to start labbing. Don't wait to start seeing what it's like to actually do the work. You can find a ton of like free labs on YouTube. Like David Bombal has a lot of great entry level
Oh yeah.
labs to start working in networking. There's a free program that Cisco gives out for free called Packet Tracer, and you can literally deploy a small little network for free and start to try things out and see if you like it. You'll probably end up loving it and just want to quit everything and start focusing on your CCNA. But it's a good starting point. That's what I would say.
Awesome. So can I put you on the spot here real quick? Is that cool?
Sure. Go ahead.
It's actually not what you think because I have to go check on the baby because he's freaking out. So, so he's 18 months old. He's got like some crazy rash, and he's just like screaming in the background. So,
Mm,
would you be okay with answering a couple questions from people in the chat? You cool with
not
that?
at all. I will do that. Yes.
Okay, well, I will be right back while I check on him. I apologize, but thank you very much. So, I'll be
No, I
back.
got you. Go take care of the baby.
All right, it'll be all on you, sir.
All right, going through the chat. I'm gonna go to the top and be fair. And I'm gonna skip over things I don't like. I'm just playing. I'll look at it. Let's see. I know I saw a super chat from Michael Hilton. Thank you for supporting Zach here. Let's see. I see that CLI Titan is pursuing his CCNP. He's got route scheduled this week. Dude, good luck. Yeah, I'm working on my T-shoot, which is the third test in the CCNP routing and switching. So for those of you at home who don't know what that is, you got the CCNA, which is kind of the associate level certification in Cisco. And then you go one tier higher to CCNP, and that's three like pretty hard tests. And I'm completing the third one after working on this thing forever. Anyways, I digress. I see some people talking about CCNP salaries in different places. Trust the Process said there's CCNP 80,000 a year in Texas guaranteed. Now I wouldn't guarantee it, but I can say from experience that's pretty normal. Absolutely. My brother doesn't even have a CCNP, and he's not very far from that. He just got a CCNA. So man, you can kill it pretty fast if you play your cards right. Let's see. 120 euros CCNA. Where is that at? That was Ali Sahal, the IT kid. Let's see. I'll get further down to get more recent stuff here. So I'll just do a most recent one. KPJ. Okay. You're a senior desktop admin, getting ready to start your CCNA courses. What would you recommend? So are you asking what CCNA course to buy or get? Let me know real quick, and I'll look at another question. Tyler said CCNA or Python first. Well, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to pursue programming, we'll go programming. But if you're wanting to be in networking, I would say get your CCNA first. No doubt. You want to get a good base level understanding of networking before you start learning any kind of network automation. You can't know what to automate before, well, you have to know what to automate before you can automate it. But after CCNA, yeah, dabble a little bit in Python, get some basics, maybe go through a course like David Bomble's course, Python for Network Engineers. Fantastic course. But then after that, I would specialize in something in networking like CCNP. Let's see. Michael Montanez says you can go to, it's Montetez. I always say your name wrong in my head. You can go to the Cisco site and download the entire Cisco certification path and kind of see where you can go. I used to have that like on my wall. Hey, look, Zach is back. I guess the baby's good. Yes, yeah. Nick Flores, 37 is young. It's never too late to start this stuff. Seriously. I got to where I am within like, I was a senior network engineer within 5 years, starting from junior network admin to senior network admin in 5 years. You can do it. I will say that some circumstances happened to me that are probably unique to a lot of people, or some people. I had to take over a network when I probably shouldn't have, honestly. I could have literally ruined that company. Thankfully, I didn't, and I learned a ton. Again, that's a pretty cool place to be. I lost a few years of life on that one.
That's great. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that, man. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
He's man, kids are great, but sometimes they can be a handful. So did I miss anything?
Just talking about certifications and such, and no, you didn't miss too much.
Awesome. So you actually scheduled just recently to take a certification, right?
Yeah. So I was just telling them that.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My bad.
Oh, no, it's cool. It's cool because I didn't complete what I was saying. So I am taking my Cisco CCNP T-Shoot exam, the third exam in the course, and that should certify me. But I haven't studied this stuff in like 2 or 3 years. Now, the thing with like Cisco stuff is if you don't like work on it and consistently study it, it goes away. So just tonight I was working and I was just configuring EIGRP with a lab. And there are some things I can't believe I forgot because I spent so much time in EIGRP that I'm like, it just disappeared.
Yeah.
So, man. So like tonight I was like, I posted on my Instagram story and YouTube story, I was feeling some imposter syndrome because like I work a lot in collaboration and voice. So like I'm very focused and specific on that area. But when I come back to routing and switching, which is something I don't do every day, I'm like, man, I'm kind of out of my depth here. I feel kind of stupid. So, but I feel better now after labbing a little bit. I'm like, okay, I'm starting to remember things. I'm not as stupid as I thought. Well, maybe I am, but at least I don't believe I am. But anyway.
No, that's awesome, man. I wish you the best of luck. I'm sure you'll do great.
We'll see.
You'll do fine. You'll kill it. You'll kill it. So you going through the whole Cisco 3-year refresh? You gonna try to keep up with that?
Yeah, for sure. What I love about Cisco though is like you don't have to do the same certification exam every time. Like if I were to finish my CCNP routing switching, go over and get my CCNP whatever track I go down, it'll recertify everything. So that's pretty cool. But you do have to keep learning, which I mean, if you're in IT, you should be doing that anyway. So it's really not a big deal unless you want to get stagnant, which means you're probably giving up a little bit. But still, you should always keep learning. That's the what I'm trying to tell you. Whoa, Jim Jones. I think we
Right.
should answer his question.
Yeah, as he says, is it possible to get an entry-level help desk job making $40K a year with a CCNA routing and switching certification with no experience? Also in Illinois, big market for networking jobs. You have in Illinois. So I'm in Illinois. I can somewhat answer that, but I can say right off the bat, based on what I know of jobs in Illinois, that you should have no problems getting a job starting at $40,000 a year. I mean, a lot of the help desk jobs pay over 40,000 easily.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Some of them don't. No, don't get me wrong. Some of them don't, but a majority of them, especially as you start getting closer to the bigger cities, I mean, they're up in the $20 an hour easily. So you shouldn't have too big of an issue.
Yeah, and I see that you're talking about CCNA routing and switching. I would just be careful. I see a lot of guys make the mistake of before they get any experience at all, they go really high in the Cisco certification track or any other track. So you might have a guy who has a CCNP and he has no experience on a resume. That's kind of a red flag. I've looked over resumes and I'm like, okay, this guy's got a CCNP, but he has no experience. He's all theory, man. He hasn't actually experienced anything. So you got to be careful with that. That's why I always advise get your like entry level certs, but then jump right into a job because experience, certifications. That's just how it is.
Yep.
Certifications will help you so much, but these you got to have experience, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, I'm a big advocate for entry level roles. Help desk jobs, any type of entry level job, because you get everything thrown at you, and that's like the cool thing, and not just networking specific or whatever, but you literally get everything thrown at you when you get stuck in an entry level job. Not stuck necessarily, but so you really get the doors like just split wide open for you, so you can really kind of determine what best path. I can't even talk tonight. The best path for you could be, and that's what's cool about it, like I kind of thought that I wanted to go down networking at one point in my career, and I was like, yeah, networking would be great. And
And
then
then you lost your way.
yeah,
Sad.
I did, and that's because I started working in some like larger enterprises that really had some very intense, um, you know, networking things going on there, and I was like, yeah, no, I was like, I don't think that's for me. So it changed just from that, just from getting more experience in it. And when I was there, I would help configure switches and configure VLANs and configure ports and things like that. And that was the extent of what I did on the networking side in just an entry level role, right? And just an entry level like help desk job back at that time. But I was seeing what these network engineers were doing, and I'm like, yeah, that's just it sounded great before, but now it just sounds terrible. That's not
Well,
for
it's
me.
funny you say that because I have my shameless plug. I do have I do have my 10 days of Christmas coming up. And I did it last year. I don't know if you
Yeah.
watched it back, but it's where I give away some courses. Last year I gave away David Bomble's courses. This year David Bomble will be a part of it, but I'm also giving away a bunch of different vendors courses.
Like CBT
cool.
nuggets?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'll just say it's going to be a fun one.
Awesome.
But one of the videos I'll make during that week, I'm going to make it with my wife, but it's going to be the downsides of why you maybe should not become a network engineer. Because it's not all roses. It's not all, oh, I configured the Edge ERP and everything's working. No, it's not. There's a lot of maintenance weekends. There's a lot of late nights. There's a lot of everything's down and everyone's looking at you and you're sweating bullets and the company's like losing money. And it really literally is your fault. Like if you don't fix it, it's on you. So that's not fun. But you get paid to do it. So when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it sucks.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Definitely. And I worked in a hospital for the last 4 years. And that's a very intense environment. So when the network goes down, that's like
literally lives are at stake.
Yes, and that's very, very true. So I feel you there with all that. It can get crazy. I'm sorry, and I'm trying to talk and I'm trying to like read through this chat at the same time, which just
same here. Yeah, I hear
does
you.
not help at all. And don't feel bad at all about shameless plugging because your Network Chuck YouTube channel is such a great resource for people who are looking to get into networking, and people who visit my YouTube channel know that I shamelessly plug you all the time and recommend you all the time.
I
So,
appreciate that, man.
no, it's you're a great resource, and everybody kind of knows who comes here, or that you work at CBT Nuggets now, and we can kind of definitely say that, I think, if I
Yeah.
can't, so I mean, your face is all over the CBT Nuggets, so it's,
Yeah, got to
it's
get
out
that
there.
branding.
Yeah, right.
Now I want to know about your Security Plus journey here. So
Yeah.
when do you now? I'm gonna put the pressure on you now. When are you taking the test?
When am I taking the test? So
Uh-huh.
it's actually I'm doing a Security Plus study group, so that's going to be starting in January, and we're looking to do somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks where we study for it, and then take the test right after that. So I'm hoping by like March 1st, at like the latest, I'll have my Security Plus certification, which will be my
Nice.
very first certification, and I'm super pumped up for it. And at the same time, I'm like super nervous for it. And it's kind of funny, because as we were talking before we got on the stream, like I spent the last 16, 17 years working in IT, all completely based off of experience. So
Mm.
to finally go out and get a certification, it's like it's the imposter syndrome. It's exactly what you talked about before. Like, can I
Well,
do it? Like, am I going to be able to pass this? Like, I don't know.
and don't here's what I love about this, because I used to think the same way. I'm like, I'm a network admin, so if I go take this exam and I fail, am I really not a network admin?
Right?
No, I mean you are.
Right.
Because the test they test a lot. Like I noticed the CompTIA obviously, and even Cisco, there is a ton of theory. And I feel like the guys who write these questions are just a little bit cruel, because it's sort of like one of those things where there's a lot of right answers, but what's the most right answer? And you're like, I don't know. When would I ever use this? I don't know. So I had my security. I think my Security Plus expired. I had it at one time. It's a hard exam. It is. So if you fail it, it's okay.
Yeah.
You'll learn from it. Like I was so mad when I took my CCNP switch. I failed the first time. That sucked. I hated it because I worked with switches all the time. And I had so many switches I was responsible for. So to fail that, I'm like, you're an idiot.
You did a
Uh,
video after that, didn't you?
no, I think I did one after my route. So this is the next story.
Okay.
I failed my route
Okay.
twice. And
Yeah.
I was so freaking mad after failing my route the second time. I was done. Because I felt like I had it that time. And I felt like it was Cisco's fault. And it was my fault though. But yeah, no, you're right. It's the imposter syndrome, but you have to remember that certs don't always have a perfect picture of what real life IT is. So yeah, it'll be all right. But I have to say, you're probably going to pass it, and it's going to feel great. It's addicting.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's an awesome path.
And I was just talking to somebody else about this the other day, where I'm hoping the Security Plus like opens up the doors for many other certifications. Like, I hope it just like knocks down this barrier that like, okay, like I knocked out the Security Plus. It's my first certification. Now I can go out and get all these other certifications that I've always wanted because I know I can do it. And even before going down this path, like I know that I can do it. It's just like feeling like, okay, like I've waited 16 years to go and get certified. Like, uh, can I do this? But I know that I can. I've
Absolutely, yeah.
worked so many umpteen places, and helped so many people, and done so many crazy, insane things in this field so far that I mean, I have no doubts that just taking the time to study, and even trying to lab some of the Security Plus stuff, like just doing the whole thing, like putting a scenario in front of myself.
Mhm.
That's what I'm excited about.
Well, yeah, like I created some of the Network Plus course on CBT Nuggets with Keith Barker and Jeremy Chara, and I had the security portion, a large part of the security portion. So I labbed out some things. Like I used my Raspberry Pi to lab out some stuff, and I mean it's so fun to do that. And it like I still like remember like sometimes when you study for exams, Most of the time, actually, you'll study it, take the test, and then you forget it because you're not going to use every part of it. But man, the stuff I labbed, especially that course I made, I haven't forgotten it all. So yeah, by far lab. I can't wait to see your process. The process is what's cool. Seeing you study for it and go through the frustrations, like that's what I want to see. Like, be candid about the
Yeah.
frustrations, because it
Oh
sucks sometimes when you're studying because you get burnt out.
yeah. Oh yeah.
It's hard. And like, I'm trying to do that now. I've been kind of busy, but I'm trying to do that with a T-shoot, and I'm sure I'll hit it here in a bit, because I have some time off in like the last 2 weeks of December, so I'll be able to study like 8 hours a day if my wife will let me. I don't think she will, but I'm going to try. But it gets frustrating,
Yeah.
and honestly, I shouldn't say this, but if you fail, that would be good content.
Yeah. I completely agree.
You
I do.
can't lose on this, because if you
No. Yeah.
fail, we will get to see how you bounce back,
Yep.
and because we know you will, and it'll be encouraging to guys who also fail,
Right.
which I'm in that group,
Yeah.
and it sucks.
Yeah. And look at you now. You started from the bottom. Now you're here.
Yeah, but I can still fail, so it doesn't matter.
That's true. Yeah. There's always room for failure, but it's all how you take those failures, you know. And I've talked about this before. If you take those failures as a learning experience, it's only going to improve yourself.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You learn a lot about yourself, because like when I failed my route the second time, I mean, I was literally screaming at my steering wheel. Like, I think there's a few dents and stuff still left in there. But yeah, calming yourself down and just realizing that it's okay and that you can just try again, that is a valuable experience.
Yeah.
It's all part of the experience.
Yep. So you've brought up labbing a few times now, and I'm huge advocate of labbing. You know, I'm always spinning up different VMs to do different things and discussing it. I don't know. Are you familiar with Dwan Lightfoot, another YouTuber?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. So he started like the Lab Everyday movement there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I cannot stress how important labbing is, and I've done it before. What you're talked about it, but why do you think labbing is so crucial to your learning experience and just to developing your core set of skills?
Well, it makes what you're learning real. Because like I forget the metrics, but like if you write something down, it increases the probability of remembering it. But then if you actually do it, it adds that further. But there's just something about like reading about EIGRP, which is a routing protocol. So a router can talk to another router and learn about each other with EIGRP. But you can read about it and learn about all the steps and the processes and how they talk. But when you actually go into a network and you type in the commands and you see them connect, you connect with it. Like that, just it fires your neurons and everything, and makes you realize and helps you remember what's happening. And a large part of being a network engineer is just typing at, well, maybe not so much anymore, but typing at the CLI. And there are times when I get into the CLI and it's just like, it's like being home. Configuration terminal, blah, 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 blah. Just it's that muscle memory. It's connecting with what you're learning. And that's why I love IT. I mean, there's a lot of things in school I hated learning, and it's because it was mostly theory. But IT, you have the opportunity to make it real for yourself. You could be a book guy. You can spend all your time learning book stuff and go take the test, and that's fine. But labbing, golly, being able to do that makes it come alive for you.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what that's what I guess it's really helped me just through my learning process, through everything that I've done in the past few years, really, because they've really made it so easy to virtualize everything, so you don't really need to go out and spend a bunch of money on different equipment and things like that. Places like, I think, does CBT Nuggets offer virtual labs for like networking and stuff like that?
Yes. Well, not networking. That's the one. Like Cisco, they're notoriously like very selfish and stingy about their software. So like we could, CBT Nuggets could offer that, but it's illegal, so you wouldn't be able to do it. Whereas, but I mean, there's things that make it easy. So like Packet Tracer, you can do Packet Tracer. Packet Tracer is free. GNS3 is amazing. Like when I studied for my CCNP switch, there are a lot of things that you just have to buy hardware for. Like if you wanted to practice switching, you had to go out and buy switches. That's not the case anymore. You can do switches in CCNP. It's amazing. Or I mean, in GNS3, it's incredible. So it's really cool what you can do now with labs, and you can. But to answer your question, yes, CBT Nuggets does have labbing, not for networking. They do have VMware stuff. They have Citrix. They have Microsoft. So the SQL. So all that spectrum, yeah, you can do it there. But networking has always been that little area where you can't really lab it without real hardware. Up until now, where we have GNS3, which is outstanding.
Yeah.
I do have one thing though, with collaboration, which is what I do, what I work on. You really can't virtualize a lot of that. You have to have the hardware, which is why I have all my stuff behind me here, because you have to have that to do a lot of the stuff that you have to learn.
Right. Definitely. I mean, I just was showing off a 3750. I mean, I still have switches because, I mean, as much as you can virtualize everything, you still have to have the physical equipment, you know, and I still have like an old IBM server that, you know, I'll probably spin up at some point, but it's always crucial just to have that equipment in front of you, just so you can look at it, visualize it, understand it, because at some point when you get out into the field, you're going to have to see it, you're going to have to understand what it looks like, and just know your way around it. So definitely something good to keep in mind.
Yeah, like you don't want to like know how to program a switch, but then when you see one, you're like, so where's the switch? Like you want to know how to do it.
Yeah, right.
So John Mirror says, "Is CompTIA worth getting anymore?" Yeah, I think it is. But yeah, I'll let the guy wearing the CompTIA shirt answer the question.
Oh, okay. I mean, you can answer the question if you'd like, but no, I can't. That's
No,
fine.
you're repping. I want you to answer it.
Yeah, I'm repping. All right. No, yeah, CompTIA I think is definitely worth getting. The CompTIA certifications are built specifically with entry-level job roles in mind. So if you're looking to get into the IT field, I mean, CompTIA certifications are going to be your best bet to help you make that step into the field. You know, there's nothing that looks better on your resume than one of these CompTIA certifications for entry-level roles, along with, you know, experience in customer service, as you said earlier, because that customer service experience is huge. Whether it be Starbucks, McDonald's, I don't care where that customer service experience comes from. It is always very helpful.
And that's true for every level of IT until you get to the role where you're just like the wizard in the closet that no one ever talks to because you're too smart. But up until I left my corporate job last year, I mean, my customer service skills were so vital. Dealing with different levels of people in the organization, from CIOs to business managers and people who don't know anything about IT. You have to know how to dumb what you know down enough to be able to talk to them. And when they say dumb crap, because they will say dumb crap, you have to be kind and treat them with respect and know how to handle that when they get angry with you for no reason. So yeah, customer service, you pick up a skill now, it'll serve you well your entire career.
Yeah, and I think I've said before, if like people are looking to get in the field, if you're in like high school, you're in college, just go work a part-time job at Ace Hardware, at Menards or Home Depot, whatever, you know, get in front of people where you are actually forced to talk to people. It will help you. I mean, it helped me. I was very like antisocial, and then I worked at a Lowe's for about maybe 9 months or so, but I was forced to talk to people every single day, and I cannot tell you how valuable that experience was for me. Like, it was huge, you know. But when people ask me during an interview, like, what is, because you get asked this question, I think like 90% of the time during an interview, what would you say one of your most valuable skills or, you know, things are? And I always say my customer service skills, the way that I'm able to talk to people, the way I'm able to communicate, and just as you said, dumb things down. You know, it's so crucial.
And honestly, I mean, I'm going to be straight up honest. I think the thing that's been the number one thing that's gotten me every job I've had is, yeah, I have the technical chops to back up what I'm saying, but they looked at me and realized I could talk and I could have good customer service, and I was a human that could treat people like humans. That's the biggest skill that's gotten me pretty far. So if you can have that, man, you'll be solid.
For sure. Can't agree with you more on that one. So, how much more time you got here? We didn't even set like a time frame when we set this up.
I'm good. I just had a second cup of coffee, so I'm jazzed. We can keep going.
You're crazy, man. You are nuts. It's like, well, I guess it's only 7:45 there?
No. It's 9:45 here.
Oh, I thought you moved out to wherever, to Oregon or whatever.
Oh no. I'm back in Dallas.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh wow.
Hmm.
Oh, okay. I didn't know we were on the same time then. Oh, okay, cool. And
Look
then
at that.
that and then you're even more crazy for drinking a cup of coffee. That's nuts, dude. I could not do that. Um, well, I guess is there anything else that you want to specifically talk about? Because I really like to kind of open up like the end of the streams with like ask me anything, so people can ask us questions and we can go over it.
I mean, we've talked about so much so far. I don't really have much else beyond, hey, go check out Network Chuck.
Hey, you feel free to plug whatever you want, man. You're all good.
Yeah, so just go check out my stuff. I mean, all of us in the community just are focused on supporting you. So Zach here, Dewan, myself, David Bombel, the other people, we're all here to support you, and we're all vital to it. So I love that we have this, because any one person doing it, I don't think it'd be enough. I think we all need these different perspectives. You got Zach here, who's really heavy on those entry-level certs, CompTIA, which I think is fantastic, because I would have watched Zach. I mean, I watch Zach now, but I wouldn't have watched Zach when I was first starting out and not knowing what to do. And like, okay, what's the A plus? How do I start with this? And if I found out he was going through a course, I'm like, oh, I could follow along, be encouraged and everything. That's killer. I love that. And same goes for all of us here. It's cool to have this community, because when I first started out, it wasn't here.
Right.
I was thankful that I had one guy mentoring me at my job, but this did not exist. So
Yeah.
it's freaking cool. So take
Yeah.
advantage of it. I love hearing stories like Michael Hilton. I know you're on the stream.
Yeah.
Dude, how old are you now? Like, God, you're like 12 years old and you have like CCIE. No, what are you, 16, Michael? I think he's
Yeah.
turned 17, almost 17.
I
And
think he
he's
just
about
turned 16.
Golly, I'm so
Dude,
freaking jealous of you, because that's so dumb.
I know. I said the same thing, man. I said the same exact thing. Like, how do
No,
you
but
do it?
seriously, but you're amazing. Props to you, because
Yeah.
when I was 16, I was stupid and I didn't want to do anything with my career or life or anything. I was too busy playing video games, and I, frankly, if I were 16 now, that's all I would be doing too, because the video games now are amazing compared to what I had. So,
Right.
uh, so
Yeah.
props to you, Hilton.
Yeah. Total props to that guy. I hope, yeah, he's 15. 15 years old,
Shut
man.
up.
We're going to need some proof.
Post your ID in the chat, please.
Yeah,
Oh, you don't
right.
have an ID. You're 15.
State issued ID, please. Birth certificate. Last four of your social. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
But I do want to like point out, like my little brother, he didn't go to college, so I didn't go to college either, and I don't have a college degree. So that's one cool thing, is you don't have to have a college degree. It always helps. Like, it seriously will help you. It's always a nice to have. But for me, it wasn't necessary, and for a lot of people, it's not necessary. So I've known a ton of people who did not have a degree. I told my brother, he was just graduating from high school. I think he's been out of high school for 2 years now. I said, don't go to college. Work on your certifications. He was lucky enough to where his high school had an A+ program, which I would have killed to have. So
Yeah.
he walked out of high school with an A+. Okay, that's amazing. But then I told him, hey, get your CCNA and get a job as fast as you can. So he got a job at a little small computer repair shop in our hometown. It was nothing, but he was getting experience, and that built up to a legit help desk job at a regular, mid-sized mortgage company, just finance company. And then I said, hey, get your CCNA. After you're done with that, market yourself. And he's a network admin now. He's only been doing this for 2 years. It's stupid what you can do if you just focus and listen to me. No, just playing. No, but seriously, he did a few right things, making his resume look really pretty, and spraying perfume and putting flowers on it. No, I'm just kidding. But he focused on the right things, and he's a network admin now. So proud of him for doing that. But it's
That's
a
awesome.
testament to what you can do if you just kind of focus on the right steps. So like Michael Hilton, that dude's going to be all of our bosses in like 10 years.
Yeah.
So
In like 5 years, man. Come on. Get real.
yeah. So be nice to him. Well, anyways, that's all I had to say to end it. So if you want to open this up to an AMA, let's do it.
Yeah, Jim Jones just did like another donation, but he asked like the same thing over again. So I feel like he missed what we said earlier. He asked, is it possible to get entry level help desk job making $40,000 a year with the 100-105 ICND1 certification with no experience? But same answer, yes, it's definitely possible, especially in
I'd
Illinois.
say it's possible without it. I
Yeah,
think you're asking the wrong question. I think a 40K a job on the help desk, you could go out and get tomorrow. I
yeah,
mean, if you get the interview, but you don't need your CCNA to do that. CCNA's a bonus, but you don't need it. In fact, if you're uh, depending on where you're at on your computer skills, I would say get your A plus first. That way you can land that help desk job because I mean, help desk people, HR people aren't going to be looking for CCNA certified people to get on the help desk. They're looking for A plus. That's their search.
right.
Normally, HR people aren't IT savvy. They're just like, oh, you want to hire somebody IT manager? Okay, what are you looking for? Oh, A plus. Okay, let me type in A plus and look for people on LinkedIn.
I
That's pretty
wonder
cool.
if I'm gonna pull up Indeed right now, and because I'm
Yeah, that'd
curious.
be cool. Let's do that. Yeah.
Let's see if I can. I was not prepared to do this.
No, for real. When this is how nuts I was when I was uh, in my career. I would always have a job search, so I use LinkedIn heavily. And I would have saved searches for jobs of places I really wanted to work. So I would have one in Orlando, Florida, because I wanted to work for Disney World. I would have one in Seattle because I wanted to work for Starbucks, and I would have one in my hometown, Dallas, so I could focus on that. And I just have searches everywhere. And every morning I would check and see what these searches were, and I would look at the job requirements, and I would kind of envision myself, okay, I need to work on this, I need to learn this, I need to learn this, and that's key. That took me really far.
Yeah. Fun fact about Disney World is that like as of I know like 15 years ago you couldn't have facial hair. You couldn't have a beard. You could have a mustache, I believe, but you couldn't have a beard and work for Disney World.
Really, that's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they had to allow the mustache because of Walt Disney, but I
Right.
guess.
Uh-huh. So I pulled up Indeed.com and I did a search for CCENT and 405 full-time jobs, and this is across
Hmm.
the entire U.S. basically. So if I do A plus certification, it's going to pull up thousands. Full time, 7,004 jobs. So that just kind of shows you, the difference between CCENT and A plus, as far as how many people are searching or requiring or asking for one of these certs. And
Yeah, like because it really is kind of a funnel. I mean, the more specific you go in your IT career, which equals more money, the fewer jobs are out there. That's just how it is. Um, one person said they applied at Lego yesterday for an IT job. That's pretty cool.
yeah,
One time I interviewed at Starbucks, and that was pretty cool.
yeah, that's
I
cool.
almost got the job, but they didn't. They were looking for someone local.
Yeah,
It's in Seattle, but that was pretty sick.
that's cool. So I just did a search for CCNA, which has 94, almost 9,500 jobs are asking for it.
Yeah, and you
So
know what? Like when if for Jim Jones, like what I would say is apply for as many of those jobs as you can. Like when I was in my career and I was at a job that I really wasn't happy with, I was applying at probably 20 jobs a day. Like
oh yeah.
you got to put the work in on the applications. Seriously, that's doing that piece is so vital.
So here's one for you, because I know somebody's going to be like, well, all these jobs require, you know, 17 years of experience, and all these jobs require, 12 teen certifications or what have you. Uh, what do you say about that?
I say the person who's writing those descriptions doesn't know anything. And that's been the case. So like I've been on both sides. I've been on the side where we've needed to hire a network engineer, and my CIO will like send the job description to HR, and I'll look at that job description and I'm like, we don't need someone with 20 years experience. Why are we doing this? We need someone who like has 2 years experience or maybe even one or doesn't know anything. I just want someone who can learn something really fast. You have to understand that HR and the people who are going to be interviewing you, like on the technical side, there's probably a disconnect between there. So I've interviewed for jobs where they've wanted 10 years of experience and I only had 3. Uh, I'm sorry, it's hard to find guys with 10 years experience. It really is, especially in like a niche specialty. Like I was in collaboration, voice, Cisco voice, like the telephones and stuff. It's hard to find people for that. And for Cisco routing and switching, I mean, if you're wanting a higher level person, those guys can be hard to find sometimes. So yeah, when you see a job description that has 5, 10 years experience, apply for it.
Yep.
If you have 1 year experience, don't even worry about it. You know what the worst thing that's going to happen is they don't call you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
What I like to say about like the job descriptions is they're just a wish list. It's just the company's wish list. That's what they wish they could have. You know, they're not saying that it's required necessarily, even though sometimes they might say it's required. You know, at the end of the day, they might not have any applicants that apply for that job that meet their requirements. So you might submit your application, and you might be the only person that fits based on, you know, your skill set. You know, you might not meet exactly what they wanted, but you're the best person. You come the closest to, you know, their wish list. So apply for everything.
Absolutely. And even if like, I would even say if you just meet a few bullets on their list, still apply for it. I've had jobs where I'm like, there's no way they're going to call me back. And I got the call back. Like I had a job interview with a Capital One time, and their main desired skill I didn't have, but I knew I had a complementary skill for it. I went ahead and applied for it, and I got a call back. No, I didn't get the job, but still, I got a call back, and that's what counts. Yep. One guy asked, I wanted to answer this one.
The software and hardware?
Not that one yet. He said, I work in a call center. This is Adrian Castaneda. Forgive me for butchering that. He has a CCNP routing and switching, or working towards it, and he wants to continue to his CCIE. Is that a good idea without experience? No, it's not. You want experience first. I can't tell you. We actually hired a guy, and I hope he's not watching. If he is, he'll probably come find me. We hired a guy who had his CCIE written, and he's supposed to be amazing. So we hired him, and I'm not even kidding. The dude, we asked him to create a VLAN on a switch. He Googled that. He Googled how to create a VLAN, CCIE written. I don't know how that's possible. So you want to be careful with going too far in your certifications and not having enough experience, because immediately when I see that, that's a red flag for me. And I would imagine it's a huge red flag for a lot of people. So I would say keep your certification out, like get your CCNA, by far get your CCNA, do that, but get your experience after that, and then start going for certifications and become a boss. But you don't want to have your certifications too heavy and outweighing your experience, because I don't think that'll serve you well.
Awesome. Great answer. Do you want to answer Jonathan Leake's question here real quick? And then I do want to go back to software and hardware's question too. But he said, sorry, asking again, Chuck. I don't know if this was answered earlier, but is it worth it to go for collab now that companies are moving from on-prem to cloud VoIP?
So that is a question I've asked myself for the past 5 years, and I would say absolutely yes. Like I said, I still have my job searches open. Like every morning I get a notification to my phone of all the jobs available in the areas I want. And there's a ton still. There's a ton of people still looking for collaboration guys. Now, just like networking, things are going to change a little bit. UC, Unified Communications, is moving to the cloud slowly but surely. But I'm going to emphasize the slowly but surely. I mean, if you go to Walmart, you know what you're going to see? You're going to see Cisco phones everywhere. You go to Target, you're going to see Cisco phones everywhere. H&M, Forever 21. You go to an airport, American Airlines uses Cisco phones. I interviewed there one time. Everyone uses Cisco phones. Everyone uses some kind of Cisco UC voice. If your call manager is moved to the cloud, it's still call manager. You're still going to have to know how to work SIP. You're still going to have to know how to connect things. The only thing I would say is that just like networking, programming is starting to move into that space a little bit. So I would start to learn a little bit of Python so you can automate a few things. I've automated a few things with Unified Communications Manager. So the skill is still extremely valuable. And I think myself learning collaboration was vital for me in my career. It took me really, really far because it's kind of a unique skill. Like not a lot of people go down the collaboration path because a lot of times the company you work for just doesn't use Cisco phones. They might use Cisco switches, but they may not use Cisco phones. So long answer short, should have been a short answer. Yeah, you should still go for collaboration. I think it's still very, very valuable. The new CCIE collaboration, they just renewed it. Yeah, it's gone away from a lot of the hardware aspects of it, and it's now a lot of virtual. Like there's a virtual voicemail server, Unity Express. Uh, a lot of the routers that we would normally use for voice are now virtualized, but it's still a router you have to program and make work. So no worries there. I think we're going to be good for the next probably 5-10 years, and people aren't going to convert to the cloud as fast as you think. The companies are still going to have regular, like they're not going to refresh. That's expensive.
Right.
A lot of companies across the board are still going to have the same things. Not everyone's going to go, oh, well, the cloud's here. It's time to upgrade. Sorry, do you know how long it took me to upgrade anything in my IT environment? CIOs are very stingy with money.
Yeah,
Like they are. So, well, I mean, this is a 7960 phone. Like these are discontinued, and we were buying these new off eBay for like 5 years.
Oh, that's funny.
So don't get discouraged. You'll see a bunch of email or a bunch of news saying, "Oh, everything is going away, everything's dying." We've been hearing that for a long, long time. Don't listen to these doomsday people. It's going to be okay. As long as the way I see it, as long as Cisco still tells us to prepare for it and a certification exam, we'll be okay. That's been my methodology thus far, and it's been okay.
Yeah, and automation is going to steal all of our jobs.
Oh yeah, I mean robots will eventually just kill us all. But
yeah, right.
Like I said, we got to go 10 years on that.
10 years? I thought it was at least like 7. Come on. So this is a question, and I'm actually kind of curious on your thoughts on this. Softwareandhardware.com says, why should I get more than one CCNA? Isn't one enough?
Well, it depends on what you want to do. I always say the CCNA routing and switching base certification you get if you're going to networking. Every other track, I think, still requires, even though Cisco doesn't require you learn CCNA routing switching, I feel every other track deserves routing and switching. But if you want to work with security, I think there are vital things you have to learn with security and the CCNA security. If you want to work in collaboration, you're not going to learn anything about collaboration except how to configure a voice VLAN and the CCNA routing switching. So yeah, if you want to specialize and take yourself further down a specific track, yes, you do need that. If you want routing and switching, no, you don't need another one. Just go routing and switching all the way. Go to CCNP. If you're crazy, go to CCIE. Whatever.
Awesome. Just going through the chat now.
Me too.
I'm just rocking through this, man. If there's anything that you see that you want to answer, just go right ahead, man.
Oh, sure. Yeah, let me see. And if you want to answer, guys, like ask again, because I'm just looking at the bottom of the feed. I'm not going to scroll too far up. So if you really want to answer, ask again.
Yeah, I think I don't know how many people are watching this. Yeah. In the view that I have, it doesn't show how many viewers I got. So
I think from what I can see, it's about 136 watching now.
Crazy. Let's see. Dong Sun says, "Hey guys, is working for an IT help desk the best way to get into a career in info security?" I think getting a help desk job, just in general, is the best way to get into any IT job. Really.
Yeah. No, that's. I don't think I've ever encountered anyone who has skipped the help desk in some shape or form.
Unless you know somebody.
Right. And even in that case, I think you do yourself a little disservice for not going through that path and being at that bottom tier.
Yeah. I cannot stress enough how crucial the help desk is to your career path. Just getting everything thrown at you. Go ahead.
I saw this guy ask this question twice. So what were my responsibilities as a junior network engineer? I can't speak for everyone, and this was probably 5 years ago that I was. It was a lot of it was just troubleshooting issues that people called in. We had a company, so the company I was working for was a finance company, and we had a lot of remote branches. So I kind of inherited the job of building up new. We use Cisco ASA firewalls, and just small 5505 that we deployed to branches, and we had a site to site. So that's how we connected remotely our buildings, like we had a headquarters in Dallas, we had offices all across the country, and that's how they connected securely back to us using Cisco firewalls. So my job would be to go in there. I'd have a template config that I would apply, and then I would ship it out, and then add some configuration to the main firewall. And then a lot of what I did was troubleshooting their issues, and I learned so much because ASAs are complicated. And this, I was studying for my CCNA. ASAs you learn about in CCNA security. So what's really cool about IT is like you may be going down one certification path, but what you do at your job could span so many things. Like I always tell people, if you can, you don't always have the choice or option, but if you can, get into a mid or small to mid-sized company. Because when I say I was a junior network admin, you know what I also did? I managed Exchange, Microsoft Exchange. I managed Microsoft Server 2008. I managed the whole terminal service environment where people connect to remote desktops. Golly, I managed so much just in that role. And yeah, I shared the responsibilities with a bunch of two other guys. That's what's cool about a small company is you get to learn a lot. It was fun. Yeah, as a junior network admin, I think the only thing I didn't do was the design aspect and actually making design decisions like, oh, we should buy this set of routers instead of these set of routers, or we should do EIGRP instead of OSPF. Like that wasn't me. My job was just to learn, shadow the guy I was working with, and troubleshoot crap that wasn't working. And he would often give me the stuff that he didn't want to do, which in my case actually worked out for me because he hated Cisco voice. He hated collaboration. So I inherited that, and thus my journey began.
Yeah, isn't that funny how that works?
Yes.
That's kind of how I got handed mobile device administrator at my last job.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
That's a whole gamut of things you have to learn.
Yeah, no, I don't want to touch mobile phones. I don't iPhones. Get out of here. No, we're not doing that. Zach, you want to do it? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I'll do it. And I'm doing consulting for them still because they still don't want to do it. I'm like, yeah, I'll come do it. That's fine.
That's sick, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I still consult as well. I work for a consulting company that manages phone systems all over the world. And that's I love being able to both teach it and also do it. But yeah, that's what's killer about IT is like you have so many options on how you can work, where you can work. You kind of choose your own adventure. That's what I always tell people.
Oh,
It
totally.
may take you a little bit. Like it took me a bit to get to the work from home status, but that was my aim. So I worked towards that slowly but surely. The last job I had one work from home day, which was like a big accomplishment for me. And then when CBT called me, I'm like, okay, I'm taking it. Let's work from home all the time.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. That's awesome. There's so many questions coming through now. Here was a good question though. How long should you stay in the help desk while you are working on your other certs, like such as Network Plus, CCNA, and so on? You wanna go with that one, and I'll take a stab at it too.
I would say only as long as you have to. If you get the call up to the next level, take it. It's because I was on the help desk for 6 months.
Yeah.
My brother was on it for about a year.
Yeah.
So stay on it as long as you have to. There's like, it's for me, the help desk was the stepping stone to be able to talk with the network guys and show them that I was interested and have the opportunity. There's no like standard, oh, you should be on it for 2 years to show that you've paid your dues. No, that's garbage. Don't let anyone tell you that. If you want to move up, you put the work in and you will move up.
Oh, totally. And I actually agree wholeheartedly with what you said. So I can't really say it any better than that. 6 months to a year is ideal. You know, if you're really looking to make that transition and you're really pushing hard, 6 months to a year is great. You know, some people stay in the help desk for a couple of years, really try to gain their bearings, and not that there's anything wrong with that. It just might take you a little bit longer to understand how an enterprise works. That's fine, but
yeah, and like and also don't get bogged down if like you really love the help desk. The first place I worked, the guy I was working with had been working help desk for like 40 years, and he loved it. And he didn't want to go anywhere. He wanted to stay right there answering phones. So that might be your thing. Don't feel bad. Like, don't feel like you have to move up because you might just love, because like, that's one thing that you lose is, and I always talk about this with my fellow admins is the higher up you go, the less interaction you have with people. And the harder the issues you are to solve, and the less I think you're appreciated a little bit less the higher you go. When you're on the help desk, you talk with someone, you solve the problem, instant gratification. You feel good about that, and then you move on to the next one, and you just constantly have like you can get on a pretty happy roll. It's pretty fun, but then you go higher, you lose that interaction. So yeah, it depends on what you want.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, I mean, I completely agree with that. 100%. I always love working with people, though. Like that, I think for me that was like one of the highlights of working with end users is just being able to like be the hero. I think it's always such a good
Yeah.
feeling, you
That
know.
is fun. Like even when it's like something stupid simple, but they think you're like you're like someone from Harry Potter and you waved your wand and it just
Yeah,
happened. That's pretty
yeah,
fun.
yeah. I can't tell you how many times I just walked into a room and whatever the issue was just started working, and they're like, "Oh my God, you fixed it! You just walked in the room." I'm like, "Yep, that's
Yeah,
what I do."
it's just
You
the
know?
proximity of your presence, and they
Yeah,
just happens so many times.
yeah.
It's funny how it's a running joke, but it really does happen.
It
I
does. It
how it
really does.
happens.
You know. And it's funny how many people like actually get mad when you tell them to restart their computer. Like,
Yeah, like,
like,
oh, okay, this guy's lazy. Well, I mean,
like
I could
no,
spend 4 hours like going through logs, but would you rather it work now or 4 hours from now?
yeah, right. Like, just please restart your computer. It'll work. I promise you. Please do. And then it drove me nuts too. Like the people are like, "All right, I restarted," and then I'd do like an uptime, and I'd be like, "You didn't restart." They're like, "Yeah, we just restarted." I'm like, "I just checked how long your computer's been up. It's been up for like 3 weeks." They're like, "Oh, we just did a log off." I'm like, "Well, that's not restarting." Like,
Yeah, that's the like a little bit unfun about that, or not fun portion of it. But yeah, it's good. It's all
yeah,
good.
but it makes for good stories.
For
Hey,
sure.
Michael Hilton asks if you attend the Cisco users group in Dallas.
I always try to, but I always forget. You know what? I'll attend the next one. So please hold me to that because it's really cool. And if you don't live in Dallas, I'm sure they have one close to you, maybe. But it's a users group of Cisco people, pretty self-explanatory. But it's just people who all get together and they have like a speaker every once in a while. What's cool with the Dallas one is they have speakers like I think they've had CBT Nugget trainers come in before. I think Keith Barker has been there before. They'll have authors like they just had like a what was his name? Forgot his name, but they'll have just really cool people come. They'll give away some stuff. They'll even kind of try to help you get a job. So it's really neat. Like recruiters will sponsor. The few times I've went, I think who was that company? Like Tech Systems was sponsoring it. And they're recruiters. So you could like get the recruiter's card, kind of have some FaceTime with them. I took my brother there when he was looking for a job. And I don't think it helped him at that point, but it could help you.
Yeah, I actually use Tech Systems for a job. They placed me in a job that I worked for, I don't know, maybe like 3 months, and then I found a job closer to home. But it worked out well.
Yeah, I've used a couple of recruiters before,
Somebody was
and that's
at.
another. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say somebody was asking where a link to your mug is, so I linked to your store.
Oh, okay.
I'm just sitting here with a nice plain glass, not as fancy as you.
Oh, you got to level up, man. Come on.
I know, right? Hey, I leveled up with the thumbnail.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Does CBT Nuggets have deals throughout the year? I don't think so. That's the one unfortunate part.
Man,
It's pretty consistent, but they do give you a 7-day or 10-day free trial, so you can always do that. And I'm giving away. I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm giving away a year of CBT Nuggets within the next 2 weeks. So be
awesome.
watching for that on my channel.
That's awesome. I'll make sure to talk about that. If there's anything like you specifically want me to like throw out there, I'll make sure I mention it for you. Because
Oh, cool. I appreciate that.
that's solid, man. I mean, people need resources like that. I mean, CBT Nuggets is great. So
Yeah, I obviously it sounds like a selling point because I work for them, but I mean I work for them because I freaking love them.
yeah.
They're the reason I'm here. So yeah, it's awesome.
Well, we talked about this before the stream, but I said I wasn't going to do it. But CBT Nuggets was the first e-learning platform that I ever used. You know, that's the first experience I ever had with actually sitting down in front of a computer and having, like, you know, trainers right in front of my face teaching me. I think it was actually the A plus at the time, and this was 7 years ago, 8 years ago now.
Oh wow.
You know, so it was a long time ago, and I liked it then. I was like, man, this is great. And then I left that job. I got it free, you know, from the job. They offered it there,
Hmm.
which is great.
Well,
Uh,
that's another hack too. Like, I mean, the company I was working at when I was on the help desk, it took me forever, but I eventually got them to pay for my training because training can be expensive. So if you're out of job, try to get them to pay for it. Even if it's non-IT, they might even do it. So just give, like, it won't hurt to ask. Let's see. Got some more questions coming in. Yes, IT security home labs. I do work with Jeremy, and he is awesome. Meeting him was like seriously one of my dreams, and it happened. It was really cool.
that's so cool. I was so excited for you when I watched that video and you know, announced that you were working there. I was like, oh, that is so freaking sick. I'm so happy for this guy.
Yeah, I've been there for a year now. It still doesn't
Yeah.
feel like real. Like
Yeah.
it's talk about imposter syndrome. I mean, like being around those guys who are, I'm not gonna lie, 100 times smarter than me. It's golly, it's rough.
But you're doing it, man. You're doing it. That's half the battle.
I'm trying.
Just like knowing, it's half the battle.
That's another tip right there. Don't feel like you have to be ready for a job that you're applying for. I've jumped into a bunch of roles where I know I didn't know enough to actually do the job. But I was confident because I've already studied for certifications that I could probably learn it pretty quickly on the job. And that's been the case. Is
So
college a scam?
so you actually kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, um, with your brother. You kind of shared
Mhm.
what the advice that you gave him. Is there anything more that you want to talk about that? Because I have some things that I could say about it.
Yeah,
Do you want me to
so
go first?
I
I
hate
can.
I can go real quick. I hate to like knock college because college is great. I mean, I started going to WGU, Western Governors University, and the great thing about that program is they part of their curriculum is you get IT certifications, and they kind of allow you to trade in your IT experience for credits, which is pretty killer. But for me, in my experience, I didn't need a degree. But I can't tell you that it won't help you, and I can't tell you that it won't be like, because like here in America, here where I am in Texas, it's not required, especially for the industries I'm trying to get into. But if you're going for a government role or if you live in another country, the standard might be you have to have a degree, and I can't speak to that. You kind of have to just look at the jobs and see what they require. But even jobs I've applied for, like it'll say 4-year degree required. I didn't have one and I got the job. So
Right.
it's for me in my experience, it hasn't been required. But yeah, I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you actually say that, but I got turned down for a job because I didn't have a degree. And
Really?
yeah, but it's funny because they interviewed me, and then after the fact, they're like, "Yeah, but you know, you don't have a degree, so we can't hire you." But we just had to go through the process. I'm like, "Oh, well,
Ah.
thanks for that. That's cool." Like, that was very, very harsh. Um, but that, you know, there are obviously jobs out there that do require you have a degree, and that's where college kind of comes in handy. And also some of those top tier jobs where you're looking at more director management. Um, I like
Yeah.
the hospital, for instance, where I left. Like, you can't be a director without a degree. They will not let you be like, um, the CIO, for instance, without a degree. You know, or you can't even be
And
the manager
that's
without
been
a
my
degree.
experience. Hmm. Like, and like for me, like I never had my sights set on management. I never wanted to manage anybody, so I didn't care. But yeah, if you want to go into management, yeah, you're gonna want that degree.
Yeah,
Sure. And if you want to work in government, yeah, it's almost like companies who are a bit more legacy, a little bit more old school. They
yeah,
still want those credentials.
yeah.
You'll
Well,
see more companies just don't care.
it was exciting when like Google announced that they're no longer require a degree to work
That's
there.
right. I saw that. I
Yeah,
was going to say it, but I forgot what company it was.
yeah. I was like, oh, mind blown. Like, that's huge. Like, but that just kind of goes to show you like how desperate the industry is for people. Like, if you think
Yeah.
about it, like, that's how desperate we are that Google dropped that requirement, because Google understands that there are very skilled people out there who do not have degrees that can do what is required to work there.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Because I mean, college is fantastic, but you're going to spend a lot of time learning things that don't apply to what you want to do. And I think Google and other companies are realizing that, and it doesn't always reflect skills they need right now because things are changing constantly. Like the one guy just asked about software-defined networking and intent-based networking, and how that's going to affect like the CCIE. Things change that quickly in IT. So a college is always going to be 5, 6 years behind whatever's actually happening in the industry, if not more.
Yeah.
But to answer your question real quick about is software-defined networking going to happen with this? Is it going to change the CCIE? I can tell you right now that from my perspective right now, I am not, me, myself, I'm not going to get my CCIE. I'm not going to go for CCIE. There's two reasons for that. One is I just don't have the time commitment. I've talked to so many people and people who have gone through the CCIE process. It is a full-on life commitment. You're studying way more than you would for any lower level cert. And it takes a long, long time. And most people fail in the first attempt, and that's expensive. I would much rather go broader than something that very, very specific. Now, if you're wanting the CCIE to have those credentials and like kind of just reach that peak, that's a different story. Like that's a goal you have. You want to reach that. But if you're wanting to like really make a lot of money in IT, CCIE, you don't need it. You don't. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to focus on other stuff. So like you say, intent-based networking, I think you would benefit more by learning a little bit of intent-based networking and Python and going deeper in that than going all the way to your CCIE. Still great cert. You learn a lot. But if you want to be an awesome admin or engineer, whatever you want to do, you don't need it.
Awesome. It's kind of hard to keep up with the chat.
I know, they're just coming in.
And yeah, I'm like out of water, so I'm like sitting over here trying to break up my ice cubes. I don't know if you saw me.
Some water.
I'm like throwing my ice and stuff. That's cool.
Go get some water. I'll answer some questions. So I don't want you to get thirsty on me, man.
We're good. It's cool. There was a question that something that I wanted to talk to you about, and now it just totally slipped my mind.
Let's see.
There's so many good things though. I actually had a phone call with WGU today, Western Governors University.
Really?
Yeah. Curious about their cybersecurity program. Not for me specifically, just to talk about with the channel and things like that. But it's interesting because they have like the what's it like? I have it written down over here. Competency-based education, which I've never heard of before. So you kind of can go at your own pace, like that kind of struck me.
That was really sick. Yeah, so I did it for about a year and a half, and like, yeah, you go at your own pace. Like you can knock it out super fast if you have the time. So it's like an IT certification. You choose how long because it's all self-paced. And you know what's funny is the reason I had my Security Plus was because I was going through WGU and it was part of my degree program. And guess what they had for training? CBT nuggets. That was part of their curriculum. I was watching Keith Barker, part of WGU. So I thought that was really neat. So yeah, if you're going to get any college degree, do something like that. Like,
yeah, I
would say WGU is pretty cool if you just really want that degree, and a lot of your jobs will pay for it because it's not super expensive.
Yeah.
One job I had was going to reimburse my tuition. I just decided not to do it because it wasn't valuable to me at the time.
Yeah. IT Security Home Lab says, IT a scary career to be in. It's always changing and robots are after our jobs. Will robots answer help desk calls accurately? Well, you know, with the last part of that and answering help desk calls accurately, I mean, they are getting really good with AI. I mean, it has become like phenomenal what they're accomplishing with that. So it wouldn't surprise me if at some point that does happen. You know, it really wouldn't.
I mean, I wouldn't be I would go a step further to where AI will be in a place where you don't need help desk calls. Yeah. Solutions or things to auto solve their problems, which is kind of like where the network is going with auto solutions. I could see like desktops doing that more and more. But no, you know what's funny is for me, like I've been in IT for 6, 7 years now, and I hear all the stuff about there being new stuff coming out in programming and it's going to change our jobs, and that scares the crap out of me. I'm not going to lie. But then I'll talk to a guy who's been doing IT for 20, 40 years, whatever. He'll say, "Oh yeah, we heard that 10 years ago. Oh yeah, we heard that 20 years ago." It's a cycle. It repeats.
Yeah.
So
Well,
for me, it might scare you, but it also is kind of exciting because what other careers like this? I don't think we're gonna have a problem as long as you keep learning.
well,
That's the key.
yeah. I mean, IT is always evolving. It's constantly evolving. So as we develop automation for one thing, now we're tasked at supporting the next thing, and that cycle repeats. So
Mm-hmm.
no matter what, we the people, we're always going to be needed. At what capacity? Well, I mean, that's kind of still to be determined, but we will always be needed at some capacity, no matter what, because as we are evolving ourselves, we are creating new technologies that we have to support. And supporting end users also kind of sucks too, because people can be, people, and sometimes they're not very smart. I mean, that's just the way it is. But it's just that it is a constant cycle. It just keeps going back and forth.
Yeah, could not agree more. It's going to change, but it won't be doomsday like you think it is. They're
Right.
still going to need you.
Yeah.
I got to answer this one. What's my beard oil? I haven't found one that I've stuck with since I got back. So I recently went traveling through Europe. So I would just buy whatever beard oil I found in a store randomly in France. But I haven't stuck on. So if anybody knows any good beard oil, let me know. I've been buying Target.
Somebody's asking you about coffee. I know that you're big into coffee too.
Let's see. HEB, Houston, and San Antonio blend coffee are great.
It's a Yusuf Stark. He says, "Hey Chuck, I find black coffee really bitter, but I find it helps with the late hours. What other flavors of coffee would you recommend? I know nothing about coffee."
Oh man, so yeah, black coffee when it's really crappy coffee sucks because you can taste how bad it is rather than just having really great creamer inside there. So yeah, the first prerequisite to drinking black coffee, which I recommend, I don't drink any flavored coffee, it's all black, is find good coffee. Medium roast, it brings out all those flavor notes. I know I sound like a total weirdo right now. So kind of sommelier or something with coffee, which if there was one, I would be one. But no, if you find a good tasting coffee that's medium roast, which just go to any local roaster, you'll be good to go. In fact, I'm trying to get a roaster to sponsor my YouTube channel. I would freaking love that. So if you know
That's
anybody,
awesome.
if you're watching, let me know. I would love to have that.
I'm sure we can find some people to do that. Shouldn't be a problem at all.
Oh, Luis Antonio Rivera. He's at Cisco Live. Is that in LA, Los Angeles? Where is that? I know it was like somewhere south, but I couldn't tell. I'll look it up. Oh, that's a wrong question. But Cisco Live in somewhere south is happening right now, which is awesome. Oh, it's in Cancun. I wish I was there.
Which chat is it? Which comment are you looking at?
It was.
Must have missed
It got lost. It's gone. Oh no, it's Luis Antonio Rivera. He said greetings from Cisco Live, LATAM. It's cool. I wish I were there. Let's see. And by the way, if you're at Cisco Live right now, try to find what's his face, the Python guy.
The Python guy. Perfect. That's it. Just find the Python guy. Just ask around. Hey, Python guy, where are you at?
We've been talking so long that my brain is starting to shut down and decay a little bit, but we're good.
That's cool. We can end this whenever you want, man.
I have to look up this guy now that I'm talking.
That's
Hank
cool.
Preston. Look up Hank Preston. Tell him I said hi. I know he's there running a workshop.
Is Linux as big as this person thinks it is in the IT field? What do you know about Linux, Mr. Chuck?
Linux is huge. Well, what's funny is Microsoft is gaining ground on them because they've gone more open source on their platform. But Linux is still very much a boss. I forget the percentage. I'll have to look it up again. But majority of the world runs off Linux. I know I deal with Linux heavily because Cisco's product for their voice stuff, Cisco Unified Communications Manager, it's run off Red Hat Linux. So it's everywhere. And a lot of Cisco platforms run off Linux. So if you do anything Cisco, you're going to hit Linux one way or another. It's huge. It's good. You will not go wrong learning Linux.
I think it's over 50% of the Azure servers are now running Linux. Which
really?
It's really funny. I think I literally laughed out loud when I saw that. I was like, that is funny.
Because they added I forget what it was, like Linux to their command line and stuff, which was crazy to me. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Their new CEO is really making some cool strides.
Yeah, and I think 90-something% of the internet is basically run on Linux, the servers. So. And then, IoT devices, everywhere you go, running Linux. It's everywhere.
Yeah,
you can't walk 100 feet without running into something that's running Linux. Your smartphone is running Linux.
Mm-hmm. So now I got a couple things behind me running Linux. I got my Raspberry Pi and well, that's about it right now. But
let's see. IT Security Home Labs. What's the sweet spot between certs and experience? Chuck said people with high-level certs without experience are a red flag. How can one go before? How high can one go before they become a red flag?
That's a good one. If I wouldn't. That's a tough one to answer. I probably wouldn't get my CCIE before I had at least 5 years experience as an admin. You don't have to be senior. You don't have to be the top of the totem pole, but I would at least wait 5 years. But that's just my opinion. Mileage may vary, but that's what I've seen. So sweet spot, I think you can go as high as CCNP once you're an admin, or maybe a year or two as an admin, but don't go any higher too fast. So I think that's probably a good sweet spot. Wait 5 years, then aspire to greatness. But I don't know.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
I think. Let me see if I can pull up this roadmap from CompTIA. And not that I'm trying to, plug CompTIA here, but it's actually something that would make sense. And I swear I didn't wear the CompTIA shirt on purpose.
I love CompTIA. I mean, seriously, I love their certifications.
Oh yeah, they're great. I cannot say better things about them. I talk about them all the time. That's not because we're now buddy. That's because they're actually really great certifications.
See, I'm going to go through a few comments here.
I'll pull this up right over here. There we go. So this IT certification roadmap, a lot of people have heard me talk about this many, many times. Here's your beginner, novice certifications. Obviously, you guys can read here. You can see it. I can link to this in the chat also. But this would be your 1 to 2 years of experience type of certifications. Your intermediate would probably be your maybe 2 to 4 or 5 years of experience. Even with your advanced, some of these advanced certifications could qualify in that 2 to 5 years of experience as well. And then expert, that's where you get into your CCIE and your systems and stuff like that, which definitely you're going to want more than 5 years probably on a lot of those. So if you look at the roadmap like that, you kind of break it down, years of experience and certification, that could kind of help you out there. Did you agree on that?
Yeah, for sure. Because I take the recommended years of experience with a grain of salt, because some aren't accurate. You need 10 years experience to do the certification. No, you don't. But some are actually pretty accurate. And I think the CISSP, they have a required amount of years of experience. You have to prove it somehow. Let me know below if you know about that, but that's what I believe. So, yeah, so it's just pretty accurate sometimes.
So Ali Sohail, the IT kid, this third time this has been asked, I guess.
We got to get that answer.
Yeah. What certs would one need to fulfill a network architect job? You want to go with that? You're the network guy here.
Yeah, I would say it's less about the certs and more about the experience at that point. Because it's funny, you'll encounter in IT, there are two factions of people. Some really love certifications and some think they are worthless. So a lot of guys are just really great at their job and they don't have one certification. So I've met architects, don't have one certification. Um, Now you won't find an architect that works for a Cisco reseller. So there's little education on how IT kind of interacts with people. So you can work for like one company and be on their IT staff. It could be a huge Fortune 500. It could be a really small one, and then you could also work for a company that helps other companies with their IT, which is one I work for now. So they may not hire a network architect, but they will hire this company to come in and help them out with their stuff. So those companies that work with Cisco and resell their stuff and are hired to help other companies, you need certifications for that. I would say CCIE if you're going to work for a reseller, and those are kind of hard jobs. Like I did it one time, actually working on prem and going to customer sites, and I just did not like that. It wasn't for me. Other people love it. I just did not like that. Uh, but long answer short to the short question. I would say to be a network architect, it's all about experience. And I haven't met a network architect that did not have more than 10 years experience. And like architect is like the top of the thing. Like
Yeah.
there is one more certification beyond CCIE, and they introduced this like 3 or 4 years ago, but it's called the CCIEAR or something like that. But it's the architect certification. And to get that one, to be certified as an architect in Cisco, you have to like go before a board of high level Cisco people and like present something. And like, so it's like super high level on that. But again, it comes down to experience.
Yeah. Experience is always going to reign supreme, for sure. So, is there anything else you want to hit? You want to answer, or I mean, I'm kind of like getting fried here myself, and I know you're kind of.
Well, see, I
It's a
could talk
lot to.
all day. I love this stuff so much. So I could go forever, but yeah, I know
It,
it's
it's hard to keep
it's
up with it all of
10:30.
it. Yeah, yeah.
All
It's getting late. If we
right, so I'll go.
we should try to schedule something out again. You should actually be doing some live streams on your channel, and
I will do one Q&A during the 10 days of Christmas. I did plan that. So
awesome.
this is kind of my test run to see how live goes. And I think we did okay, Zach.
Yeah,
Thank you
no,
for getting me
it's
on
awesome.
here.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's been awesome. I definitely would love to have you on again because this is it's been great. People enjoy it, and it's all about helping people. That's what IT career questions is all about. That's what Network Chuck is all about.
Hmm.
We're here to help. So the more that we can help people, the better. The more we can bring people who are interested in this field. That's what makes me happy. That's what brings me joy, and that's why I do what I do.
Yeah, because like, I mean, I didn't know anything about these career paths when I was in high school because I don't think they really advertise anything about this field.
Yeah,
It's really something you figure out later. They may do it now, but I didn't know anything about
yeah. And now here we are, giving giving this
it.
giving the information out. It's great.
All right, so I'll try to find one question that I'll answer that I really like. Let me see, just as a parting here. Oh, let's see. I'm just gonna scroll somewhere in the middle here. Okay, so this one's interesting. How do you manage your work-life balance? That's a great question, and especially, and you probably run into this, Zach, even more like I do, because when you work from home, there almost is no balance. You're just kind of it's all mixed together.
Yeah.
Uh, I haven't mastered that, to be honest. I get yelled at by my kids and my wife all the time because I work too much and I study too much. Like we'll be sitting down watching a movie or something, and I'm like, I should really be studying right now. And then I'll kind of sneak away and like grab my laptop and get behind them and start labbing, and they'll look behind me and go, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." So the answer is I don't have one. I'm gonna be honest, I don't have one. What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think anytime we want to sit down in front of the TV, I always have my laptop with me because it's not the it's not that I have work to do. You know what I mean? It's that I want to do it. Like I am so intrigued by it and so interested in it that like it's so hard for me to step away from it because I just have so much interest and passion in what I'm doing and learning that that's like all I can focus on. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Oh
it
yeah.
drives the kids nuts. It drives the wife nuts. Like she's ready to kill me. Like even tonight, like I'm like, so hey, I got to go do this live stream tonight, and she's like, really? I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, it should maybe only be like 40 minutes or so, and now it's been like an hour and 40 minutes, so she's probably really gonna kill me, but it's like that's just the way you get carried away. So it's hard when you find yourself so passionate about something to step away from it. And I don't think I can necessarily say that's a bad thing. Um, we're not out like doing bad things, and you know
Right.
I don't want to say a bunch of
It's
bad things or whatever, but we're not doing bad things. Like we're trying to learn things. We're trying to make the world a better place. Is kind of how I see it. You
Yeah,
know.
well, doing this is keeping us off the bad things. I like that. I like to imagine that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I
Definitely.
wasn't doing this, what would I be doing?
Yeah. Right.
Uh, but yeah, no, it's like I try to be. I try to take intentional breaks because like I know when I'm in work mode, when I'm in study mode, I'm gonna be like laser eyed focused on that. So I try to be more intentional when I spend time with my wife and my kids and stuff. But it does get hard. There was one question from IT Security Home Labs. Man, he's been asking a lot of questions, but I appreciate it. Uh, he asked about my brother and how he's doing because he just got a CCNA. I'm not gonna answer that right now because you're gonna have to wait till the 10 days of Christmas.
Ooh,
I'm gonna
nice.
have him I'm gonna interview him, and we're gonna be covering how he got a job after he got a CCNA,
I
which
like
was
it.
like which was like immediately after he got a CCNA, and he got a really good job. Like I think it's between 60 and 70K a year,
Awesome.
and he's got 1 year experience on the help desk. So
Did he say?
it's
Did he say in his interview, "Hey, my brother works for CBT Nuggets"?
and that's one thing. Like I was like, did you like? And not that I would offer anything to that, but I'm like, you didn't say anything, did you? Like, no, just regular interview, regular everything. I just helped him with his resume, and that I was hands off. I didn't say a thing. So we'll kind of go over that, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. Awesome. All right. Is there anything else you wanna touch here or talk about or end with or
I think we blew up the internet, man. I think we're done.
yeah? Uh, somebody in the I just created a Discord server like last week or actually on Sunday or something, and somebody said
Yeah, I saw that.
um, so I said, and in 36 minutes he will do a live show with Network Chuck. If Kim Kardashian didn't break the internet, this one will. Like, yeah, all right. Hope it breaks the internet. That'd be great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, I greatly appreciate you coming on the channel, man. It's been a pleasure having you here, answering questions, talking with everybody, and sharing your experience and your stories. I hope to have you on again. And if you guys don't know who this guy is, he's Network Chuck. There should be a link in the description below, so go and check him out. Got anything to say, sir?
Just thank you for having me on. If you're one of my followers, you know I don't go live very often. But so Zach got me out of my cave here. So thank you for getting me on, Zach. It's fun.
Sure.
I'm privileged to be able to talk to your audience who are probably just getting started in IT or have been following you for a while and have been successful. So, because I know I started following you when you had like what 20,000 subscribers. You did this like giveaway where you gave away a bunch of like merchandise
Yeah.
when you hit 20K or something. So I've been following you since then, and you do awesome work. So it's
Thank you.
cool to be on your channel. It's fun.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Appreciate it. So you guys all have a great night. Remember to always be studying, lab every day, and take it easy.